Hi everybody, my name is Jeri and I'm here today with the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria to share with you a project from our Teacher Resource Guide in the Present Moment. You can download this guide from our website where you'll find an awful lot of other artists and projects that you and your family might enjoy doing together. So today I'd like to introduce you to artist Bart Toby. Mark Tobey was born in 1890 and died in 1976. He did take some classes at the Art Institute of Chicago, but for the most part, he is a self-taught artist. He started his career in New York as an illustrator before moving out to the Seattle area. He actually has ties here to Victoria. He was friends with well-known artist Emily Carr and actually taught at her studio in 1928. That's like almost 100 years ago. What do you think life was like 100 years ago? Do you think they were taking art classes like you and me right now through the computer? He also had ties to the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria. He was close friends with our founding director, Colin Graham, and that's why we have such a large collection of his artwork today. So while he was living in the Pacific Northwest is the area from North California through Oregon, Washington, to the southern tip of British Columbia, including Victoria. He was really interested in Asia and Asian culture. He even studied Chinese calligraphy. And then in 1934, he went to Asia. He visited Shanghai, and then he went to Japan. And he was the first known American artist to ever spend time in a Zen monastery. He studied meditation, calligraphy, and haiku, which is a form of Zen poetry. In fact, you probably have created a haiku if you've already looked at and explored the Nakahara Natembo video that we've made. And another cool connection, he wrote that when he arrived at the Zen monastery, he was given an enzo on which to meditate on. That is a large sumi ink painting of a free brush circle, much probably like the ones that Nakahara Natembo made and we explored in the video. So this experience of being in the Zen monastery had a really big impact on Mark Tobey's life. In fact, he said it taught him a new way to look at art. He learned that it was better to feel a painting rather than see it. And about a year after he was at the Zen monastery, he started creating a painting style called white writing, and this is the painting style that he is most famous for. Let's look at one from our collection called Christmas Night. What do you see? What do you notice about the marks? Did you notice the white or light colored calligraphic symbols? The white lines were a result from his experiments with Asian calligraphy. Can you find a bold brushstroke? What about strokes that are delicate and fine, like strands of a spider web? What do you notice about the colors he used? So Mark Tobey's interest in Zen and his experience at the Zen monastery in Japan influenced him his entire life. In fact, he held Japanese culture in very high regard. And in return, the Japanese held Mark Tobey and his art in high regard. There was a strong mutual respect for each other. During the 1950s, he was painting with a group of Japanese American artists in Seattle. And they would get together on a regular basis and create paintings in the sumi ink flung style. In fact, here's an example from our collection, simply called Untitled. Sumi simply means ink painting. The idea is to capture the essence of a moment with just a few strokes. In sumi there is no sketch, and the artist is open-minded about what happens as the ink and brush meet the paper. Okay, so now let's look at the two paintings together. Let's try to look at them in a new way. Instead of just looking at the marks that are in the paintings, let's try to feel them. Which painting calls out to you? Which painting might be calm and serene? Take a moment, have a look at both of them, and try to look at them in a new way. Try to look at them through feeling the painting. Creating a painting with feeling is the key to our project today. Here are the materials you're going to need. You're going to need a piece of watercolor paper, a white oil pastel or a white crayon, some watercolors, a brush, and some water. We're going to be inspired by Mark Tobey's Christmas Night and also our name. Now, Mark Tobey's artwork is composed of 1,000 small brushstrokes where you can no longer read the letters or the words. They simply become interesting shapes and form. We're going to try to play with that idea and create our own inspired white writing painting. Now, I'm going to use a blue oil pastel just because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, but you go ahead and pick up either your oil pastel or your crayon. And the first feeling I want you to think about how you're going to write your name is if you were to shout it. Think about what would it look like if you shout your name. Would it be all capital letters? Would they be really bold? Would it go off the paper? I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pick it up, and I want you to shout your name on the paper. Here I go. Oh, I even broke it. I'm shouting so loud. J-E-R-I. I have shouted my name across this paper. Look at the energy that you put on this paper. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? So now let's flip it, turn our paper one way. And this time, I'm going to ask you to write your name feeling shy. What does your name look like if it's feeling shy? Is it all small letters this time? How will you put it on the paper? And find somewhere where you're going to write your name really shy. Now I'm sitting there going to have some fun with this. What if our shy name got a little more confident? How would you write the shy name that you put on the paper? How does it change if it becomes a little braver or more confident? I think mine will get larger. What if it was braver still? Would it get even larger? So let's turn our paper again. What about if you're feeling happy? How will you write your name feeling happy? Does it bounce all over the paper? Is it a series of capital letters and small letters? Maybe the letters are going upside down or backwards, or I don't know which way. But go ahead and write your name feeling happy. I'm going to do mine bouncing around my paper. And it's so happy, I feel like I want to do it more than once. Let's turn our paper again. Now, how will you write your name if it was sad? If your name was feeling sad, what would that look like? I feel like mine would be upside down. Why do I feel upside down? I don't know. But that's how I feel my name would be. Let's turn it one more time. What about if you were feeling fancy? How would you write your name feeling fancy? Is it a finger up? I don't know. Let's see you write your name on your paper somewhere fancy. Now, let's turn it one more time. What about if you wrote your name feeling mean? Oh, I feel like that'd be really bold. And that looks a little mean to me. I made it very sharp, my letters. I'm going to turn it around one more time, and I'm going to ask you, what was that like? Think about all the different energy and ways that you were able to write your name, thinking about a feeling. How did that change things for you? So at this point, maybe what you want to do is if you hold your paper up sideways, you'll probably see a little shine where you can see what you've put on your paper. Because I know white on white, it's hard to see anything right now. Think of your most favorite letter in your name. Maybe you like it because it has a curlicue in it. Maybe you like a certain dash in it. Maybe there's some places on your paper where you feel like you could use a little more line work. So pick your favorite letter or the part of your favorite letter and put that into your work. I like the part of my E where it curves and they interject. So I'm going to put some of those in. Now, if you would like, you're more than welcome to pause the video here and keep working on this part if you're having a lot of fun. Think of all the different emotions that you can put in your name. because what we're going to do next is we're going to pick up our watercolors. So I'm going to put my oil pastels to the side now. Now I actually, before we started filming, went ahead and did a paper with the white oil pastel. But I wanted to show you with the blue so that you could see what I was doing as I was writing my name. But I'm now going to shift to this white oil pastel paper. So I'm going to grab my watercolors right now and my water and my brush. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of water into each of my pans, and that is just to start to activate the watercolors. So I just want to kind of get them wet so that they're ready to go and work with me. And then when I'm going to work, I'm going to take some water, but I'm always going to take it off the edge of my brush to take the excess water off. I'm going to start with one little area of my paper. While I'm putting some bathing, I'm going to say I'm bathing my paper, coming off the side, I want to start thinking about my color palette. Now, Mark Tobey did a lot of his paintings thinking about the colors of the Pacific Northwest. And I thought I'd think about some of the colors around Victoria that I see when I go on a hike. Maybe the greens that I see in the cedar leaves or branches, I guess I should say, the reds and browns of the trunk, maybe the gray mist that I see in the morning with the fog, or the golden yellows and oranges in the afternoon at the sunsets. So those are going to be the colors that I'm thinking about for my color palette. Yours might just be your very favorite colors. You might decide you want to do every color of the rainbow. But I kind of find it's really great when I challenge myself to maybe just use 3 or 5 colors. So see what comes to mind. So now that I've kind of bathed this piece of paper, I think I'll start with that sunshine. And I'm going to, ooh, look at that. I'm just going to drop it in. So this is wet on wet. I'm dropping color in, and what you're going to start to notice, I'm wondering if you see this on yours. I'm going to throw some yellow in there too. What happens when the yellow and orange meet? Do you notice that your color isn't able to stick everywhere? Look at my line work from my name start to show up. Now I could decide I'm not going to wet the paper. Maybe I'll pull some of that brown in and look at how different that is. And I can have it kind of start to meet my orange. I could decide that I'm just going to add some water and I'm going to see how far can I make that brown go. So take your colors and have some fun doing it. We're going to speed the video up now so that you can just see what I'm doing, but this is a time where you can enjoy just painting your paper. So how was that? Did you have fun coloring it in? Take a moment, step back and look at your composition. Look at the energy sitting here on the paper from writing our name and all those different feelings. Now, I'm looking at my composition and I'm noticing, and maybe you'll notice this too, some places where the colors are really dark, the white lines show up really bright. That's because there's a lot of contrast. Versus over here where the color's really light, the white line disappears a little more. Maybe there's an area where you really like some of the lines that have shown up. You could take your watercolors and you could go in and you could darken that if you wanted to and really create more contrast. So how come this happened? We call this type of painting resist painting. That's because the oil pastel and the crayon resist the paint, and that's what makes it show up. So I hope you had a lot of fun today creating a work of art using feelings and looking art in a new way using our feelings. And I hope you'll come back and create with me again. If you get a chance, please share your work with us. All you have to do is hashtag AGGV. I would love to see it. And I hope to see you again really soon.